avec ta barbichette. T'as déjà striké dans tes bouchettes. Et avec tes lunettes qui font peur, la victoire est signée. Game over.
I gotta stop doing that, man. I gotta stop singing the song as we're ending. It's just like, I love the song, man. It's like, it sticks in my mind. And anyways, hey guys, how you guys doing? My name is Max Martin, co-host of the Game Over podcast with my good friends Eric Gagne, better known as Gags, or Cy Young winner, whatever, you know. What kind of day? I don't know, but depending on what kind of day is, you know, if I feel like he's in a shitty mood, I'll go, hey Cy, and then he smiles, and I like that. How you doing, buddy?
At that point right here again.
Yeah, I know. We didn't do it on the French podcast. I'm going, man.
That's not.
Exactly. Man, what a show we're gonna have, and I'm so thrilled to have this our guest Bryan Ruby, who actually came out as gay a couple years ago, and the influence and the impact that he has, and just, man, every time I read an article about what's going on, it's just amazing. It gives you faith in humanity. After all, you know, so, but before we get to him, you and I have a couple things to talk about. First of all, you're in Phoenix while I'm in Montreal. So have you stepped outside at all in the last week, or do you have to, like, you know, just, are you guys digging tunnels?
We only go out at night, and then we wake up early in the morning to take our walk, and then we go back hibernation inside in the air conditioning and drink all that air conditioning, all that electricity, and oh, it's hot. It's hot, but it's, you know, it's 2 months a year that we have to deal with. It's beautiful blue skies, and can't complain.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah,
I could complain, but
no, it's okay.
Good. It's a good day today.
Because every time we talk, whenever we have a meeting, and then whenever we just, you know, hang out and chat and stuff, and I always kid you about, like, you know, climate change, and I can't believe you're still a climate change. Well, not denier, but I always go, nah, it's not climate change. It's just, you know, you got to spend more time with vegans in Flagstaff in northern Arizona. Democratic, vegan, and Flagstaff, just for lunch. That's all I'm saying. Just have lunch with a bunch of nice.
All I know is it's really hot right now. It's really hot, and it's record-breaking hot.
And get used to it, because it's not going to get any better. Anyway, it's a baseball podcast. I'm sorry, I didn't want to throw the political angle. I don't want to go there and stuff. And on my personal side, I got to confess something to you. I don't know if I made a mistake, and once we get Bryan, I'm going to ask him for his advice too, but I made out with my neighbor. Is that something that's...
Well,
yeah. Well, she lives...
Well, I'm so happy for you. Make sure you...
But no, because I'm thinking...
Neighbor, like right there?
Well, we're on the same floor. I live in this... I've got a condo in old Montreal. Every floor's got about 15 apartments, and it's about 6 floors high. She lives at the other end of the hallway. We talked a couple of times. We had dinner. I just love talking to her. We talked for hours, and then we just made out.
Well, you better be careful, buddy. Better be careful. She doesn't live very far. Make sure you don't make her mad.
Yeah. Because I'm so bad with relationship. I keep fucking up everything. Yeah, I don't want to move. I don't want to move.
Does she like dogs though? Does she love animals?
Yes. Yeah, she's got a cat, and Aura loves her cat and stuff, and just. You know.
We got a cat lover. Wow, I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
Really?
I don't know. You're a dog guy, right?
Well, I'm both, actually, but just right now I'm in the dog phase. You know, I've had my cat phase, I'm in the dog phase and stuff, and just who knows next? Maybe I'll have a horse downtown Montreal, and I'll be. Hey, let's talk some baseball, because that's what we're all about. We ended the French podcast. For those who don't know, because we do a live podcast ahead of the English podcast, and we were closing in on. We finished actually. We closed on the trading deadline. Who's going to be buyers and sellers, and that just went off on the Yankees. Because it's easy, man, and I want to repeat what I said. It's like, I would just clean house, man. I mean, from the second floor up. I mean, honestly, how can you spend so much money and have no results? How can you make so many mistakes? How can you be, you know? And it's funny because
you're just a Yankee hater, don't you?
No, I am not. I love that team, man, especially during the Derek Jeter. What?
Like, hopefully there's someone that listens our French podcast that can actually really go back in this. You said you're happy that they're doing bad
right now because they're trying to buy baseball.
You're a Yankee hater. That's okay.
No, I mean, first of all, they were my favorite team when I was a kid because the coach was Billy Martin, and my last name is Martin. But when you're 7 years old, you know, you got to cling onto anything. So for a long time, they were like my favorite. The old Mattingly era, you know. And then once Steinbrenner got in, kept firing everybody and just, like, you know, trading everybody, it pissed me off. I moved on. And then you know, and how can you, like, how can you not love the Yankees when Derek Jeter was playing for them? And then A-Rod came on, so that kind of confronted me, you know, as to like, you know, and yeah. But right now, what I'm saying is like, I want to see what they're going to do at the deadline because, first of all, you've got nothing. You got no prospects to give. They got nothing. They keep gutting their minor league rosters year after year, and nobody's going to take those big contracts up there. So what do you see?
So you're saying, says there's nothing to do. There's no more. They're not going to spend that much more money. They can't trade away anything. So you're saying that Boone's going to lose his job?
Oh, for sure.
Really?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Really, man?
I mean, I hope not. I like Boone. He's a good friend of mine. He lives right next door. So I don't hope he doesn't. He's a good dude. He's a good baseball guy. But the way they're playing right now, the way they're just right now, just the whole year, they're 53-47 now.
Oh yeah, well, the whole division is kicking ass. But I mean, you're not going to overtake. You know, hopefully.
I don't know about that. Like they're only 8.5 back. Okay, the Baltimore Orioles, they're not going to be spending a lot at the deadline. They're going to.
They don't have to. They're winning.
I know they're winning, but trust me, it's baseball. You're going on a bad week, and they go on a good week. That changes. You can be within 2 or 3 games in a week, in 7, 8 days. So it's like, to me, I wouldn't sleep on the Yankees. They're going to add. We know they're going to add. They're not going to start unloading. There's no way they're going to sell.
Of course not. They should, but they're not.
They don't need to. They don't have to. That's the beauty of having that much money, which is a little bit unfair, I feel like, because you got Baltimore have done their homework. They've done everything they had to do. They got the prospects. They got the great young kids are up there right now. They're still. You said you know minor leagues more than I do, so you know they got a lot of guys at the bottom coming up. But I think it'll be kind of cool to see like the Baltimore Orioles keep it going, just spend some money a little bit, but smart. They got to be smart. They can't just go after it because they know it's a long run. But I don't think they will. I think they're going to be smart about it. They're going to get some veterans that can actually complement the young kids. Give them, maybe like playoff experience guys. What about like a guy like Stroman? Do you think he would fit good in there?
Where, in Baltimore or in New York?
Baltimore. Forget New York. I'm talking about your team right now.
Yeah, thank you. And but just to put it like, here's a good example that sums up the whole conversation. You know, the only Yankee worth signing up to a long contract, it was Aaron Judge. I mean, that Stanton contract looks like the biggest joke ever. We stopped dishing. Yeah. He was already hitting 246 when he signed him. Anyway, but as opposed to the Baltimore Orioles, who right now I would sign 7 guys before I would buy right away their years before they become free eligible for not for agency but for help me out. Thank you, arbitration. So look, if with the budget the Yankees have, you don't have as many prospects and good players on the field as that team that was like at the bottom for forever. And honestly, I mean, the Orioles are just like. They're just sexy to watch, man. And I mean, Jackson Holliday is like one of the top 5 prospect in the game right now. I would say number 2. You played against his dad, right?
Yep, played against his dad. He was in Colorado.
Yeah.
Pretty stud.
Was he? Yeah.
Oh my God! I mean, scary amount of.
You can say motherfucker. It's a podcast. You can.
I gotta. You do that. I'm trying to like watch my language. Try to be like brand, stay on brand, all that bullshit.
And I'll be the guy who's ruining it for a bunch of us. You want to kick in with some other teams right now as buyers and sellers?
So let's go down the list. Like the Dodgers, what do you think they're going to do? How do you think they're going to buy or sell? What do you think?
To me, the Dodgers are a perfect example of a balanced team. Huge budget, we all know that, but also makes room for minor leaguers. I think what screwed up the plans for the Dodgers is like guys like Vargas and Outman aren't putting up the same numbers as they did last year. So is there going to be pressure to get like an extra outfielder? Doesn't have to be like a major starter, but at least someone can be like a regular strong 4th outfielder. Do you bring infield help? But we all know. I
got a name for you. Abraham Toro. Go to the Dodgers.
Oh man, I'd love that, man. Honestly,
cool.
God,
that would be really cool. I'd love to see that. Because I think he would fit in that place really good. He could play every day. All the position, all the young guys are not performing right now with injuries.
Yep.
That'd be kind of cool. I'd love to see that.
And Month's hitting like 198. So, but what do you think the Dodgers need? Starting pitching. I've always wanted to ask you that.
Starting pitching and relievers. That's it. I think that's all you're going to look at. And maybe a utility guy, like a guy like Toro, a guy that can play multiple position that's going to be given flexibility, because the Dodgers are all about flexibility. And I think that's what's going to be bullpen, maybe a starter, or a guy like Lance Lynn or Stroman or whatever. I don't think Stroman's going to be in the plan because I think he's going to cost too much. But I think a guy like a veteran, or like a guy like Joe Kelly, a guy who goes back there, they know him, he fits well. Joe Kelly goes back in.
I didn't think really. I didn't think that's not one name I think you would have thrown. Because you know what.
It's the only one I know, so. It's the only one I had on my list right here.
Don't say that. Fuck. Man, okay, you think we're going to lose credibility because I said motherfucker? And,
yes.
And then you don't think we're going to lose credibility because you say that's the only name I know? Really? Joe Kelly?
That's the only one I've written down. There's a lot of other names, but I'm not going to go down to all of them.
That's a better way to put it. All right.
I think it'd be a good match. I think Kelly's been there. He knows he fits in the clubhouse, and I think it'd be kind of cool. But
they got Phillips and Gradol that can close the games, but you don't have that one dominant guy that, like, I don't know, let's say Eric Gagne. You know, I threw you.
Thank you. What do you got on the Angels? What about the Angels? That's going to be kind of tricky because they don't want to get rid of Ohtani. Everybody knows that. But
what if they get nothing for him?
That's what I'm saying. Like you're not gonna sign him back unless you give him percentage of the team, or you named a stadium after him or something like that. You're not going to get him back. It's almost impossible unless something I don't know about.
Yeah.
But it's going to be interesting to see what they do because you're going to pass on. Basically, they could get the whole minor league system of whatever team, or you could do a 3-way trade, then throw some money at a young team that doesn't have a lot, kind of go that way. Because they could get 5, 6, 7 really, really big impact prospects. And I don't think they can pass.
I'm not sure. They would obviously get big names back. But it's a rental.
Yeah, I agree.
He's not going to sign that big contract, even if he was traded to those beloved Yankees of mine. They would, unless they would have talks of some kind of give him an idea of what the offer would be in the off season. The guy wants to win. Someone even mentioned that they would see him in an Orioles uniform, man.
Yeah, there's going to be talk before if he ever gets traded, which I don't believe he will.
He won't.
If he ever gets traded, I think it's going to be a talk where there's an extension talk into it already, almost like maybe not signed, but there's going to be an agreement. Say, hey, this is where we're thinking, X amount of money, X amount of years. And there's going to be an agreement because he's not going to go there as a rental. That's impossible. I don't think so.
Well, maybe just to win. Like you go to Baltimore, you go to Tampa Bay, get that ring.
There's no chance. Everybody there's no way he goes to anywhere except, Seattle, Dodgers.
No, that's not going to happen.
All right, we'll see.
Traded to the Dodgers, man? Forget it, man. The LA Riots would be close. Then again,
I don't think he'd get traded, period. I really don't believe he's going to get traded. There's no way they would do that because, I think they would trade Trout before they trade him. And I think Trout probably has a no-trade clause. So, I don't know. It's going to be interesting.
Plus Trout's been injured so often in the last couple of years that it's pretty tough. But let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question.
I don't want to answer your question. I want to go my stuff. What do you got? You have a lot of questions.
That's the idea exactly. That's the idea of hosting a podcast. What if you're Ohtani and I come up to you as a GM and I go, listen, we're not going to win this year. We know how important winning is to you. We're thinking of moving you to these cities. How do you see it? Is there somewhere? And then in the off season we'll make a pitch for you. How would you take that as a player? Would you be open to that?
Yeah, I don't think he has a say anyway. I don't think he can. He doesn't have a no-trade clause or nothing. But of course, you can be open to that. That's kind of what teams do. When I got traded from the Rangers, they talk to say, hey, we'd love to have you back. If we might trade you. If we do trade you, we'd love to talk again in the offseason and bring you back. That was kind of where we left it when I went to Boston. But it's all relationship. They're not going to say a number. They're not going to talk about that. But it's going to be like, we want you back. We want to make everything work out. We can't pass on the prospects. We can't do this right now. And then would you be willing? Would that hurt your feelings, or would it be okay if we trade you and then get some prospects and maybe try to go after you as hard as we can and give an honest effort to get you back? That's a conversation they're already had probably a month ago.
What's your prediction? What's your prediction? Where's it going to be next March? Next February, which uniforms are you wearing at the spring training?
My gosh, I don't know. It's so hard. It's so hard because you're looking at small markets and you're like, oh, he can change. Like I said earlier, he can change a whole franchise overnight. You put Ohtani anywhere, it changes the whole franchise. So I don't think it's going to be a team, the Yankees, Boston, or Dodgers. It'll be a sleeper team that we don't think about that actually have the money.
Giants.
I think Giants is that'd be a good fit for him. I think I'd like to see that. Mariners, Giants.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not a lot of teams that you can really.
You know what my prediction is? I think it's gonna end up with the Marlins. I'm just fucking kidding. But
I think it might be the Mets, the Marlins. The Mets have a chance. I think the Mets.
Oh, yeah, that's what they need, spending more money for less chemistry. Hey, let's bring on our first guest before we get into another like dismal New York team, which is one of our favorite pastime. I'm so happy to have him with us. Actually, you're the one who actually turned him around to a story. Bryan Ruby made his coming out a couple years ago. You know, against the advice of someone close to him, but what a great example of, like, you know, just following your gut, man, and just, you know, finding that inner strength of just wanting to be who you want to be and who you are, as you know, as a matter of fact. So, and since then, man, it's been steamrolling us to, like, how, you know, certain guys just use that example to come out and just be more free, and I think it's pretty symbolic of the era that we're living in. So, hey, let's welcome our guest, Bryan Ruby. Bryan, how you doing?
How's it going?
Man, good to see you. You know,
wow, nice hair, my man. Wow, that is look at Max is jealous right here. Max is really jealous right there. yeah, I don't think he's ever had hair like that. Period.
No, I guarantee you, I never even came close to it, man. Even if when I tried, I had curly hair. Can you imagine it? Yeah.
Hair, period. So
kind of like wavy curly. It's like, you know, even the staff here is coming in to look at me like, really? You had fucking curly hair before? Yeah, I fucking did. Just get off my back, man. It's like, you know. But
all right, blowing a little bit.
You know, I'm gonna let Gags take over. No, I was just gonna say, no, this is probably the only Christian baseball podcast, and I'm just fucking kidding. But honestly, Bryan, your story is just amazing to watch, and I'll give an example of how times are changing, and not comparing what I lived this weekend to anything that you lived. But yesterday, my kid, who's 14 years old, playing high caliber ball, they were playing against an all girls team. They got their ass kicked. Okay. They got their ass kicked. They lost 11-2. I remember when I played, and there was a couple of girls, maybe per league there was 2 girls, and there was like, you would hear stuff like, man, you got struck out by a girl. Oh my God, man, we just got beat by girls. It was so beautiful to watch my kid and his team just be in awe of how good the girls' team was. And what you're done about, you know, just is coming out and the reaction you're getting, we can actually say fucking times are changing.
Yeah, slowly, I think. And, you know, we got a long ways to go, but I think they are changing. I've seen LGBTQ plus acceptance in baseball. I'm on the ground floor of it with our charity. I'm wearing the shirt right now. Proud to be in baseball. That's the name of our nonprofit, and we live this every day, seeing how there are so many young players who just want to play ball. They just want to be good ball players like any other kid, and wondering, is baseball a space for me or not? Can I be myself and play ball? You know, when I was growing up, I'd come home from school and turn on the TV and would watch Major League games at night. And I grew up as a Phillies fan. And I was always wondering, is there anybody out there like me? And I felt so alone for years. Just every time I stepped on the ball field, not being able to, having to hide and not being able to really tell anybody, and for the fear of losing my spot on whatever team I happened to be on at the time, all the way from high school up through college and indie ball in the pros and even overseas and in winter ball. I mean, at every level that I've played, I've felt like I have needed to hide. And finally, I just kind of got tired of it. And I thought to myself, man, I've been in baseball for a long time. And I just want to know if it's even possible for me to live my life out and be true to who I am and stay in the game. And one of the things that I'm most proud of after I came out in 2021. I was playing indie ball in Oregon at the time for the Salem Kaiser Volcanoes. And it just so happened to go up on the cover of the sports section in USA Today. And that was really scary for me, having my deepest, darkest secret out there. But one of the things that I'm most proud of after all of that, all the getting picked up in the news and doing interviews and stuff, all that didn't matter. What mattered to me, because it would have mattered if I had seen this as a kid, was another ball player who had been able to come out and keep their job and continue playing. And I played that was in 2021, towards the end of the season, finished out the season, had a career year, put up my best numbers I've ever put up because I was accepted by my teammates. And the next year went back to play a little bit of indie ball, but really transitioned more to doing more of our charity stuff to try to grow LGBTQ acceptance for the next generation of ball players. And I've played a little bit this summer internationally, actually, in some tournaments. And I'm planning to probably retire at the end of the season, which is okay with me. We got a lot of stuff going on and a lot of important things that I think we need to do for baseball.
Nice. And I got, because you're in baseball, we all know in baseball, we're in the clubhouse, we all talk shit a lot. We all there's a lot of things that shouldn't be said in there. I mean, I don't want to. It's bad. It's bad. It's like it's.
Give us some examples, Gags. Give us examples.
We don't need to do that. But my question
is,
is,
put the whole thing in context so we can have the full image of what it was like for Bryan to be in the dressing room.
But what I'm saying, it's like, for real, just for you to come out, first of all, it must have been such a big relief, right? It must have been like a big weight off your shoulder, but then you add some more on top of it, because I don't know, when you knew you're gay or not. I mean, did you figure that out? Did you know when you were younger, or did you know that, or did your family know that?
Yeah.
Okay. So
I knew. I certainly didn't tell anybody. I knew from maybe 13 or 14, just being at baseball practice and hearing my teammates talk about whatever girl at school and me just having no interest. And I've heard all the things that you said in the locker room, and to answer that question, it's like, I had heard some pretty bad comments about people like me over the years in baseball, in every locker room. It's just a part of the culture. And really wondering, it's like, I wonder if these guys knew that one of the guys that they hang out with every day, that they go to the batting cage with, that they, go to Chipotle with after the game, they go to the weight room and lift with, and, you're hanging on the bus, like you're really tight with your teammates. I would always wonder if these guys knew about me, would they accept me? Because they're saying some pretty bad stuff about people like me, but maybe they just don't really know people like me. And I think that ended up coming true. A lot of the guys who had said stuff like that actually realized what they said and apologized after the fact. And I said, no worries. I think they appreciated that I was chill about it, and they were chill about it. And we all just kind of got to keep playing ball, which was the best scenario for me.
So obviously you've seen a difference. You've seen a difference in the clubhouse before and after, and people they were a lot more respectful, because you're in an environment, like you said, baseball environment in the clubhouse. This is just male trying to be over, just a bunch of guys trying to one up each other. But there's another thing that you do. You're a country singer.
Yeah.
So you come from baseball community into a country singer industry. So tell us the difference. Who's more, I don't want to say who's more accepting or not, because it all probably depends on everything, but tell us a little bit about that, because that's pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, trying to make the country singers be more...
I would say...
Okay, go on, sorry.
I would say the country... I live in Nashville, and from what I've experienced, because country music is full of artistic people, it's actually been a little bit better than baseball.
Really?
My teammates have been great. I think that the baseball world itself, as a whole, hasn't been super friendly towards people like me over the years. My actual teammates, though, have been really great. So, and our general manager, when I came out, was playing for the Volcanoes in Oregon in Indie Ball, and our general manager sent me one of the nicest texts anybody's ever sent me. Like, you're all good. We love you here. You know, and it was perfect. So people individuals have been really accepting in baseball. I think overall we got a long ways to go. But in country music, I mean, the guys that I play with, we always just joke about it. It's like a camaraderie. The same thing with teammates as guys in the band. You know, it's just a bunch of people who are hanging out backstage and getting ready to play music together, and it's a good time. And today, actually, we drove back from Michigan. I'm in Nashville right now, just got back home, but we had a 12-hour drive. We played in Michigan the last 2 days, so I'm hitting it hard as a musician, and the baseball life definitely prepares you for the musician life. Like, you're on the road, you're in a hotel room or wherever. It's kind of a lot like the minor league. You know, it's not like we're at the Hyatt or the Ritz-Carlton.
Nope.
And as country music singers right now, it's a lot like indie ball, where we're at Motel 6 or the Travel Lodge, or, you know, we sweat it out, but you get to play music, and I'm going to work my way up, and that's kind of where we're at.
Well, I guess, you know, being free of, you know, to be who you are, like you know, in the last couple of years gives you that strength to, like, now be able, like, you know, to attack any challenges. I mean, life becomes less scary. I don't know if scary is the right word, you know what I mean? But my question is, if we look at the Billy Beane story, I mean, you know, gay players I've played a game for the last 150 years. They've been, you know, I'm not going to ask you. I mean, I don't know. Should we go through, like, what according to you is, like, an educated guess of the amount or percentage of gay players in professional baseball? You know, like maybe 2-3%.
Yeah, I have no idea. I mean, we have heard from, since I've come out, I didn't just want to come out for me. I wanted to do something and create something. Like when I was a kid and I Googled gay baseball player to see if there was anybody else actively playing, I found Billy Beane. I found Glenn Burke, two major leaguers who came out after they retired. Yeah. But I really would have meant a lot to me as a kid to see somebody who was actively playing. So I think there are a ton of guys out there, and I think that there will be a wave of guys who come out at all levels of the game. LGBTQ plus people have been on every team of every sport in every location around the world. Always. We're there. Sometimes people just don't know about it. And I think it would help a lot if organizations like Major League Baseball committed a little bit more to helping show that baseball can be for everybody. Yeah. You know, we've seen a lot of stuff with MLB trying to work on women in baseball and improving the environment to have female coaches. I know a few that are like rising up the ranks and doing a really good job, and people representation of all kinds of different people in the front office. And it was really telling. Our charity went to a convention in the off season, the ABCA convention, American Baseball Coaches Association convention, and there were 8,000 people there. And we had the only booth with a rainbow. And we saw how many people came up to us, how many coaches came up to us, youth coaches, high school coaches, college coaches, and tell us the stories about their players that either came out to them when they were playing for them or came out afterwards because they didn't feel like it was a comfortable environment for them. And to be on the ground and to be the organization, you don't realize how many people are like me in baseball until you're the guy who's all of a sudden the gay baseball player, like in USA Today, and you receive messages from all the other players. And I think that everybody's just sort of like, I don't know, you know, I have no way of really knowing like a percentage, but it's a good amount. If you think about all the people that play baseball across all levels, And everybody's curious. Everybody's like, I think I've had very similar conversations with a lot of the players, feeling like there's a weight on their shoulders and just wanting to stay in baseball and questioning if that's even possible. And I think that probably the biggest thing that people can do if they're a coach or a player who's straight, or an athletic trainer or somebody in the front office, anybody in the baseball environment, is just like, you know, show some support as an ally. Like, I think if you know, I had a couple teammates who were really strong allies of the LGBT community, and those were the guys I knew that I could go to and feel comfortable with. And once I went to them and I came out to them and they said, yeah, man, no big deal, we got your back, it was so much easier for me to tell the rest of the guys. And, you know, it's everybody asks, like, how should I come out? How should I do this? Like, and for years, I didn't really want there to be a newspaper article about me, because I'm a whole lot more than just who I'm attracted to, right? Yep. I'm a ball player. I'm a country music singer. I like barbecue. Like, I have all these things. Like, my favorite color is whatever. Like, I in the off season, I enjoy, you know, going fishing and all kinds of stuff. Like, that's just one little fact, just like anything else. I throw right-handed, like, it's like anything else. And I think guys are also afraid of being labeled as the gay baseball player. I know there are major leaguers right now who you know, they put in so much work. You think about the amount of work, you know, Eric, to get to that level. And I could only ever dream of getting to the big leagues. I played low level in ball, but it takes a whole lot of work to get there. And, you know, you want to be known kind of as a good ball player. You don't necessarily want to be known for other stuff. And I think a lot of guys are afraid of that. But what I would say to that is that it's really more powerful than any hit you can get in a game or any strikeout that you will have on the mound or win or accolade or whatever, because younger athletes like me will see it. And there are kids out there. It's really, really sad. I don't want to get too dark, but LGBTQ kids commit suicide at a much higher rate than kids who aren't in that community. And, you know, you don't want any kid to feel alone like I did. And if I had just been able to see somebody like me, it would have made the world of difference. And more people coming out in baseball will save lives. So it's more important than baseball.
Yeah, that's the way. It's funny and sad at the same time. Yesterday, I was talking to my wife. I said, "Hey, I got Bryan's coming on." I'm like, I don't want to be an idiot and ask stupid questions, and so I practice on it. And I was making a joke. I'm like,
Did
okay,
you really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because I don't want to be like I'm ignorant. I mean, I'm not. I don't judge at all. I really don't. But I didn't want to be.
And obviously, you got some self-esteem issues also that, you know, we got to solve at some point. So.
I do. I have a lot of issues. Trust me. But I was practicing with my wife questions. I'm like, is that going to be insulting? Is that not going to be insulting? I say, hey, and I told her, I said, you're the gay baseball player. And she goes, you can't say that. I'm like, I know I can't say that, but I'm saying, hey, I'm just saying, like, this is probably what he hears all the time. This is probably what he hears all the time as a gay baseball player. I'm like, which is, like you said, it's just a little small fraction of it. And then the other question that came to me, I'm like, is MLB really ready for this? Because I don't think they're ready, even close. Because when you have a team like the Texas Rangers, they're the only team in Major League Baseball that do not have the gay pride night, which is ridiculous. And it's 2023 right now.
Yeah, but before you answer, Bryan, I was going to say, you know, most of the teams are doing it, but I wonder, honestly, how many of them are honest. Let's say, let's be honest. It's a fucking MLB, marketing. It's a marketing tool. That's it.
That's the problem. And I think that goes to my question: is MLB ready? I don't think they are. And what is the next step to be done for guys like you? So, like you said, suicide and just to be yourself. I mean, we're baseball players. You're trying to be yourself all the time. You're trying to be, as a player, as a pitcher, you're trying to find yourself as a pitcher. I can only imagine trying to find myself as a person, try to fit in by just faking myself, faking in around people. And I can't even imagine, which for me, it's just amazing what you've been able to do. Your whole life, you almost had to hide. And then, what do you think about it? You think MLB should take a stance that everybody, it's like, you got to have a gay pride night because it's part of the community. We don't talk about it because it's probably taboo for everyone. But what do you think about that? What do you think MLB needs to do to kind of open up people's eyes? Because ignorance is everywhere. We see it in this kind of environment, politics, everything. Everybody, a lot of people, if they don't know it, they fear it, and that's kind of what it feels like. It's like that. But tell me, what do you think should be done? I mean, guys like you take the lead.
Yeah.
Well, what should be done?
Yeah. There's a lot of questions there. A lot of points. Number one, first, no worries about the questions. Believe me, you guys are cool. I have been asked everything over the last couple of years since we've done this, so no worries. And number two, about the Pride Night, I think that most Pride Nights right now are sort of a marketing thing, like you said. It's about getting people into the stadium and selling rainbow merchandise. And there's a disconnect. There's a huge disconnect about just getting people in the stadium versus actually improving the environment for players. The whole reason I started this because I felt like nobody was really doing that. And there needed to be something that looked out for the actual LGBTQ people that are in baseball, not just the people who are in the stands. So there's a huge difference there. And I think that, to make your point about the Rangers as well, I think they're the only team that doesn't do a Pride Night, at least in Major League Baseball this past year. And from my understanding, it just was a decision that kind of came from above by the ownership group. And I think that there actually are a lot of people, and I've heard from them, who work in the Rangers organization who would totally support a Pride Night. But I think sometimes you just get a bad egg at the top who puts the kibosh on it and says, no, we're not going to do this. And unfortunately, you would wish that some people from Major League Baseball would step up and say, no, this is something that can help baseball. One of the things that I like to point out is that record numbers of the younger generation are identifying as members of the LGBTQ community more and more as it becomes more mainstream. Are in the community. And when those kids watch a baseball game and they want to have a favorite player, just like I did when I was a kid, sure, they could be a fan of whatever player's the star on their local team, but they want to see somebody like them. It's a huge marketing miss. You're missing being able to market to this whole 20% of the younger generation who's only going to grow into the people who have the money to buy seats at the stadium, to buy season tickets when they're older. All these people don't have a reason to care about baseball. Just because you have one night out of the year for them to show up at the ballpark doesn't mean that it's really an environment for them. So I've tried to say that. I've gone into the commissioner's office 3 or 4 times and have tried to make those points. And I think that, for things to change, it's going to really take some leadership from the top and people really understanding this. And it's not political. It's not, there's all kinds of things in the media when you bring up LGBTQ stuff that people get so divided on. And really what I try to say is, these are our teammates. These are our coaches. These are the people that sell popcorn and cotton candy in the stands. We're already there. We love baseball. We want to be in baseball. Part of the reason I named it Proud to Be in Baseball is we're proud to be baseball players. It takes a lot of work to be a baseball player. I have a tremendous pride in getting to play indie ball. When I started out as a kid, I wasn't the best player on my little league team. I had to work really hard to get there. And we're also proud to be in the LGBT community. And that's a thing that takes a while to become proud of. You know, when you grow up in baseball and you hear some of these comments about people like us, you know, it really is a journey to realize, no, I'm proud of who I am, and those two things can coexist. I always say, like, who you date has nothing to do with whether you can hit a 95-mile-an-hour fastball or a 102-mile-an-hour fastball nowadays, because everybody's throwing harder. You know, it's totally different things. So it will take quite a lot to get baseball to shift focus, but times are changing, and you know, baseball's a slow-moving sport, but I think it's possible. We're just kind of at the baby stages of it and need to build it.
Yeah, because, you know, I mean, baseball, just like most, you know, professional sports, you know, it's an old white man's club still. And, you know, we're talking about, like, you know, the second, you know, whether it's the commissioner or the owners and stuff. But at the same time, you know, you'll watch interviews, because I think every player has been asked that in every sport, whether it's hockey or basketball, football or baseball. How would you feel about having a gay player or a gay teammate on your team, you know? And it's, oh, I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
What's the real idea of that, too? Because, I mean, the locker room has to change. I think that's where it starts. I mean, you can't do something about, like, some 85-year-old man who comes from a whole new, a totally different generation, who's not even connected to, you know, the reality of today. It's understandable. You know, it's like, but what about, I think the biggest mission is to change the culture in the dressing room first, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think people in our culture, people look to athletes for leadership. Athletes have millions of followers on social media, and they have a platform. You know, they're heroes for people. They really are. And having people, actually, you brought him up because he might, I don't know if he's getting traded or what. Marcus Stroman is a great example of a guy like this, who's a straight guy, who's an ally of the community. And, you know, I think when kids look up to somebody like that because they're a good baseball player and they see that it's possible, you know, they see him tweeting about stuff like this in support of my community, it's almost cool to be an ally, right? You need to have those people who show that it's okay. And a lot of the work, like even the fact that we're doing this on this podcast, right? I'm sure there will be a ton of baseball people that tune into this, and they see you, Eric. Actually, I mean, I would love to ask you a question if you're cool with it. Like if you, I asked this to Gabe, no pressure. I asked this.
I love that we're just setting it up, man. It's going to be great.
I love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. What would you say? Like, let's say you were playing ball today in the big leagues, right? And one of your teammates came out to you. What would you say to him?
I would ask him questions. I think ignorance is, to me, it's ignorance. It's like, it's racism, ignorant. Like, I used a Jackie Robinson. Like, to me, it's totally different because we're talking race and everything else. But acceptance comes from knowledge. And I would ask questions. I would be so welcoming. Yeah. I think, of course, we're all you know, I say that now until it comes in, but that's why I wanted to talk to you today, because I think it's important that people understand that this, you know, it's just one little fraction of your life. It's nothing. It's your private life. You know, it's your private. For me, I would have loved that, because to me, I think it opens up our horizon, opens up your mind. You know, I've always thought I was a pretty open-minded guy. You know, I think I am. Of course, I've said some bad things in my life. I've said some stupid things, tried to be funny and everything like this. That's why I was bringing up a little bit the clubhouse atmosphere, which is absolutely, I'm sure you heard some stuff that you shouldn't have never heard. But I would have been, I think I would have been okay with it. I really do. I don't know if I would have been, you know, how I would have done this, everything else. But to be honest, I want to be as transparent as I can be. I would have loved to see how I would have reacted, because I don't want to, I got kids. I don't want my kids to go to bed feeling like they're different, they're less than someone else, because you know, I don't believe that you pick who you love, because I would pick I've got divorced already. So obviously you don't pick who you love. You don't pick your attraction. I got divorced already. So, but I think I would have been open-minded. I think so. But I think those conversations we're having are the most important thing. We talk about racism and everything else. This is the most important thing, to have those conversations, to have guys like you talk about it and make us more sensitive to it, to how we talk about and how we talk to people. Make sure that we don't know who we're talking to. I mean, it's not like you're going to know if someone's gay or not. I mean, you're not going to figure, oh my God, this is, you don't know that. I mean, you're like you said, you play baseball, you're a country music guy, there's no difference whatsoever, except, it's like, for me, it's almost, I like Chinese food. I don't like Chinese food. It's a personal choice. Yeah. And I think for me, I would say that to me, it's the most important thing, someone accepting someone, because you have all type of different people in a clubhouse. You have guys that are nice. You have guys that are assholes. You have guys that get along with others. You have loud people. You have people who are super quiet. You have gay people. I know there's gay people. I played with some. I know in my gut feeling that I thought it might have been. But I wish maybe they would have been better. Maybe they would have a longer career. They would have been a lot more successful being at peace. And I think when I read your quote about as a kid, you felt like there's something wrong with you. To me, that hurts me because I would never want my kids to feel that way. They're different. Like, it's just, I don't understand it. I don't understand how people can start judging others before they even understand what's going on in their heart, under their, however it works. But I think I would have been very receptive. I think it would have broadened my horizon, I think, a little bit more. And I would have loved to be part of it. And then that's why I wanted to do that interview today with you, because I think it's super interesting and super courageous how you handle it. It's very cool.
Thank you. Yeah, that's a great answer. Like, that's exactly what I would want as that guy in the locker room. Is, okay, a teammate, maybe he's not exactly sure what to do, but he wants to go in with an open mind and learn, and that was like, that's perfect for somebody like me. And I think you're right. You don't really pick who you love. I'm gay. You got divorced, and Max has fallen in love with his neighbor. So
I'm not. We just made out. That's what we did. We made out. Nobody's talking about love yet. Don't get me like Yeah.
And she's a cat lady, by the way.
She's not a cat lady. She's got one fucking cat. She doesn't have 25. She's got one fucking cat.
Wait. Starts with one, man. Start with one.
It's crazy. Yeah. Next thing you know, you're going to be buying cat food.
We're getting off the subject now, honestly. It's just going to be, it's not about me, it's not about me. But
let's talk about you. I read a little bit of a story that you went with the players. You went to someone's wedding. Tell us a little bit about that story, because I read about it. I thought it was pretty cool, pretty interesting, how accepting it was, and just tell us a little bit.
Yeah, I have a teammate who wants to officiate weddings.
Yeah, I read that.
We don't make like a lot of money in indie ball, so you're trying to just scrap. Like, I've been an Uber driver before, a Lyft driver. You're working it. Right now, I play music at bars and get tips, and that's how I make the money. But yeah, so this teammate wanted to officiate weddings, and he came up to me and was like, "Tell me everything you know about gay weddings, because I hear that I can make some money."
New market. New market.
Yeah.
But there's something there's something nice behind that naiveness, just the fact that it will come up and just like, hey, I'm thinking about this, and just like, it's not even a question my faith or who I am or I was brought up and what are my thoughts or beliefs. It's like, hey, fuck, man, I can make money. Just tell me more about this. The casualness is amazing. I can make some money. Yeah.
Yeah, that was. I mean, if you would have asked me at the beginning of my baseball career, would I ever be talking about that? About talking to one of my teammates about officiating a gay wedding in the clubhouse, I would have never guessed that. But we talk about all kinds of things in the clubhouse, as you know. I mean, there's been so many stories like that, just about. You don't realize like how many people, even if they're not in the LGBT community, how many people know somebody, like a brother, a sister, a friend, a cousin, their teacher from back home, their neighbor. And one of the coolest things for me after I've come out is every time I go into a baseball environment and I'm wearing this shirt representing our charity, or even, like last year in the locker room or in the clubhouse, I hear of all the stories of people who they care about. You know, everybody wants to tell me, like, you know, maybe like, actually, here's a good way. I just thought of this. You know, you said you weren't sure like what you could do if you wanted to show support of a teammate who would come out to you, like when you're playing. You know, if you knew anybody that was in the LGBT community, like one of the things one of our pitchers told me about his cousin, and he told me a story about it, and I knew that was somebody. Okay, he's cool, right? Like you can just tell them about somebody that you know, or somebody or a character on TV or a singer, you know, who's famous that you like their music, like Freddie Mercury from Queen, or somebody. And they'll know that's the sign of acceptance. One of the coolest things, our catcher, he came up to me and he said that he was always like the first one to get in a fight. He got into it with guys on the other team a couple times during the season. He even got into it with one of the guys in our locker room.
Really?
Season. And he was always ready to fight. And I played winter ball with him in Latin America. And I thought that, man, this guy, like, I don't know if I should say anything to this guy because he might have an issue. And he came up to me the day after I came out, and he dabbed me up in the clubhouse and in front of everybody too. And he said, man, if anybody ever messes with you, they got to deal with me. And that meant the world to have the dude in the clubhouse who's always going at it, have my back. And nobody did. And after the season, I said, why did you say that? Like, you didn't need to say that in front of everybody. And he said, well, when I was a kid in Puerto Rico in Catholic school, I got picked on by the other kids because he was the kid who had two dads, right? So he was raised by two dads, and he never told that to anybody in baseball because he didn't want to tell, right? But you know, and it actually explained why he was like fighting everybody, because he grew up having to fight his way out of different situations, right? When he was getting picked on. So you just never know. Like, that was a guy who I thought might be my biggest adversary, who actually was my biggest ally, you know? So it's been really cool to hear those stories of the actual people in baseball who feel like they can support something like this. You know, it doesn't need to be controversial. I know that I didn't directly answer your question. Is Major League Baseball ready for this? And I think that a lot of the players are. And because people look up to the players, you know, the fans will be ready when they see that the players are ready. Yep. And the owners and the general managers and the front office and the broadcasters and the media will be ready when they see more players are okay with it. So
players need to demand it. I got a little. It's a pretty sad, you know, anecdote that I've got. When I spoke French my whole life. I came professional baseball. My first year in professional baseball, I didn't speak a lot of English, so I was picked on by teammates because I spoke French. They thought it was gay, and they kept saying that. So, right. And I just want to say, like, it's amazing what you probably had to go through without even, because you hear it every day. Every day you probably hear something bad. People don't know. They just start talking bad shit about everything. I had it just being French Canadian, and they were just calling me the F word all the time, you know, the bad word. And it's like, it's just because I spoke French. So that just tells you the level of ignorance. And I can only imagine how you could have you had to go through this. And I mean, for me, it's amazing what you've accomplished just as a person, just the way you've done it. And then to me, I'd love to have one of your shirts. Send me a shirt because I know Max and I will wear it next time.
For sure, man. And it opens a door for me also to tell you the story about, you know, when I first started losing my hair. You know, because it wasn't really.
He was 5.5.
Why did I open that fucking door? Why did I open that fucking door, man? Like, trying to be cute and stuff, and just.
But what would you say to a kid that's in your situation, young kid? What would you tell a kid, like the best advice you would give him, just to kind of like just to help him a little bit? Now maybe they're watching right now. What would you tell them? Like you said, we talked a little bit or today or yesterday.
Yeah, because you are that guy now. You are that guy that can actually, you know, get that weight off some young kid's shoulder.
Yep. What would you tell them?
I would say, even though it might feel like you're alone, you're not alone. And I would point to a couple players because there have been a few guys who have come out last year and this year. So I'm not the only one anymore who's out publicly. There are a few, and there will be more on the way. You're not alone. There are other guys like you. And just because you're gay is no reason why you should quit baseball. If you love to play ball, you should stick with it. And it'll be even more rewarding when you make it to the pros, or you make it on the varsity team at your high school, or you make it to college ball or whatever. It'll be even more rewarding to know that you had to overcome a challenge, and to know that if you can overcome that, you can overcome so many things in your life. And it's okay to feel like you're different than your teammate. That makes you unique. That gives you a different perspective, right? I felt like a lot of the time, like when my teammates were out at the bar chasing after women, I wasn't. You know, I didn't have that pressure. I could go to the batting cage. I could go to the weight room. I could sleep, because, you know, we need a lot of sleep when you're traveling all around and you got to get up the next morning and play ball. Like I could focus. And so it's a big gift if you think about it like that. And, you know, you're not alone, and it will be really rewarding for you. It'll feel really good, you know, when you finally get to a place when I know that a lot of the younger athletes feel like that it's never possible that they can do that. But I will tell you firsthand, it is.
Man, I just can't think of a better
That's
way
awesome.
to just, man, that was touching, that was beautiful, that was inspiring. And, man, and anybody's listening right now, depending what their situation is, probably just felt a little more strength, man. Bryan, thanks so much, man. I really hope we talk again. And, yeah, man, it was great. I loved it.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Appreciate it. You know, you just to be on our podcast. It's an honor for us to have you on, and we'll have you more. And then tell us what we need to do to help, because I mean, I know there's not a lot out there. There's not a lot of help, and we're here.
He fucking knows everybody, man. So, you know.
We'll help.
Yeah. Well, I'll plug our charity. We're proud to be in baseball. Proud to be in baseball.org. We are trying to raise some money right now to create some programs that can help LGBTQ youth who play baseball. Any donation is seriously greatly appreciated for anybody who's watching this and they want to support us. They can follow us on social media, see what we're up to at Proud to Be in Baseball. And really just, you know,
all right now.
Follow along and yeah, you can do it right now, right after you're finished watching this podcast. But and you know, show up, and if you grab a shirt like this and you wear it to the ballpark, you will help contribute to show that people like me can belong in baseball and inspire the next generation to do the same.
On, my man.
So I got you. I see you. I'm giving a shout out while I have a second. I'm giving a shout out to Mickey from the Volcanoes who connected us. That was clutch. Thank you, Mickey.
Thanks, Mickey. I have no idea what you're talking about, but thanks, Mickey.
Yeah, thank you, Bryan.
And you know that as soon as we're going to hang up, he's going to ask for a receipt also. But thanks, Bryan. We'll talk to you soon, man. It was just fucking amazing. Big hug, and take care, man.
Thanks, Bryan.
Thanks.
God, that was amazing, man.
That was cool. I didn't know it. I was so nervous, man. I was nervous You know, like, but you just, you know, I don't want to be I said a dick, and that's bad. I don't want to be just right there. See, I just messed up already. I just want to be one of those guys that doesn't. That is so bad. I was not going to say it.
Oh God! That is one of the funniest moments. Like, and of course, you have to say "dick" by using quotes. So you're like stretching the. Oh man!
Anyway,
amazing.
I didn't know what to expect, man. I did not know what to expect. I didn't want to be an idiot and just like ignorant. Just,
good save.
He's amazing. He's an amazing guy. He's a great example for kids, everybody, and hopefully we can help him. You know, just kind of grow their community and make it more accepting.
Well, the new generation is so more open to it, and you know, we were talking it earlier on the show. I forget if it was on the French podcast or this one, but you know, you're looking at a team like Cincinnati. We have so many rookies, so many guys like 25 years and younger. You know, they were like exposed to, like, you know, there were more and more kids coming out like in high school and stuff. So it's you know.
I was going to bring up the social media, like how, you know, because impactful, because at least he can go on social media. He's got like a community there that actually support him. So I think the social media can be bad. Sometimes it can be good, but I think hopefully it's, you know, they have a community, a support system to help him through. Because like you said, there's a lot of kids are suffering in silence that we don't know about. We'll never know until it's too late. So hopefully that can help a little bit, or a kid here and there.
Oh, please! If you're in that situation, if you recognize yourself into what Bryan was saying, man. And that's also something else nowadays. There are more help. There's help out there. There's help out anyway. You know, there's numbers you can call. There's people you can talk to. And he said it. I remember when I was going through, like, you know, when I had a cocaine problem, I was like, I knew, you know, a lot of people were like, you know, were suffering from the same problem. But I was embarrassed to talk about it until when I you know, actually did it, and I thought it'd be judged. I did, you know. But no, I got support right away and stuff. And it's the same thing. Stop thinking people are going to be against you, whatever you're going through in life. There's more help out there, and not just like I said, like whether it's like professional help or whatever. But there's just like
we have a big society problem there. I mean, you have a lot of pressure of, you know, fitting in, being like everybody else, and that's cool to see a guy like that comes out and actually becomes himself and become whole. I think so. It's cool.
But you know, before I go to bed tonight, I am going to play the clip of you saying I didn't want to be a dick over. And
that's so bad. I was doing so good until then. I'm like, oh my God, dude, are you serious?
All right, let's get some weight off your shoulders. Let's go to the relief, man.
Let's go. Unreal. So bad. I did so good for like, what, 48 minutes?
You were great. What are you talking about, man? You were awesome today, man. Forget it. But you know what? Actually, this is the segment we're talking about, you know, the up-and-coming players. And let's be honest, we did something about Edouard Julien in French. We could also talk about it more in English, but let's be honest, we didn't go over everything that we wanted to. Because we wanted to put more emphasis on the trade deadline. But because also this segment's also... commodity. I'm tired. Was the word I'm looking for. Sponsored by Baseball Canada and of course Baseball Quebec. And you know, next time we actually go through the relief, we'll give you more examples. Like, I mean, so many kids are coming up, man. It's amazing. So many kids. I mean, like I said, like, you know, the Reds. Okay, you know what? Let's make it a small segment. The Reds have like McLean, De La Cruz. Friedel hasn't been there for that long. They got Steer. They got Abbott. They just called up Encarnacion Stand. We talked about Baltimore with all these kids. You know, when we talked to the trade deadline, but it's amazing to see teams having more and more confidence in those young guys. I mean,
the kids are ready. I mean,
that's what I was going to say.
The kids are ready. You see a guy coming up like Edouard Julien. Edouard Julien has been on a tear. He's in 400 or whatever in the last month and a half or so. But the teams are willing to give him a chance. That's the beauty of it. It's not like an old school thought process where you need 400 innings in this pitcher, or you need like 2 or 3 or 4 years in the minor leagues, a certain amount of at bat. They come in ready. I mean, their preparation is a lot better. They come out of college. I can't remember where Edouard went to college, but it was a big college. He went to Auburn. Auburn, that's right. I was going to say another one, but anyway, he went to Auburn. So these guys, basically, it's a minor league team. So a guy that comes up, goes to Auburn, comes in that system, goes into minor leagues with the Twins. Twins has an amazing minor league system. The kids are prepared. The kids are ready. That's why guys like Toro and they come up, they're ready to perform. A guy like Edouard, he's been on a tear. But the willingness of the teams to give them the opportunity has changed dramatically. For different reasons, some good, some bad. A lot of it is monetary. It's all about making money or saving money, whatever it is. But the kids are ready. They're really ready. And I think that just tells you a lot about how they do in the minor leagues, the job they're doing, the coaches in the minor leagues, the preparation, the maturity in the college, and then come into the minor leagues. And it's fun to watch because I want to see guys like Toro. I want to see guys LeBlanc. I want to see all those Lopez guys come up and perform right away.
Quebec guys, yeah.
Yep, there's a lot of guys that are coming up. They're good. Like you said, they're like De La Cruz kid. I mean, there's some phenoms out there. And I don't think I've ever seen that much talent ever. I mean, the guys are so good.
I know.
Otani comes in. I'm like, what is that? De La Cruz kid is 6'12", playing shortstop, hitting bombs, running all over. It's impressive. And a guy like Julien come in, and he's making room. He's making them make moves for him to play. And it's fun to watch, and I think the teams are a lot more willing to do that. And it's that's what it needs to do. And kids are ready to play in the big leagues, put them in the big leagues. No more Chris Bryant stuff that just you save him in the minor leagues just to hold him on.
The next bargaining agreement, the whole fucking thing. If you call a guy after I think it's early June. You save an extra year for arbitration if you're a team owner or whatever. Just anyway, but I mean, the Reds and Baltimore are two teams who have a great chance of playing in the fall. And we always hear the same thing. Well, with these young teams, we're gonna bring veterans, to surround them and calm them down and stuff. And we always hear the same answers about that. But like, what does truly a veteran can actually do? Does it become sort of a shrink? If the kid goes 2 for 25, of course the batting coach is there for you. But I mean, someone who's been there. Yeah. And
when I got called up in the big leagues, it was very different. I mean, people, you're coming in, you're like a little guy from Mascouche Beach, and you're like, hey, I'm coming in. You got a guy making $10, $12, $15 million a year. You don't fit in. So their job is to make you feel welcome, make you feel like you belong there, make sure you're comfortable, make sure that you're going to be doing the right thing, not just make sure you pay your dues, yes, but you want to make sure that you're acting like a professional baseball player. And now more than ever, the veterans are a lot more valuable just because of what we talked about. The guys coming up a lot younger, there's a lot more of them. The culture has changed. It's a young men's game. It's not the old veterans anymore dominating the clubhouse. So you got to make sure when they do come in, make sure that they understand the values of respect each other. We talked about it with Bryan right there. So, that's another example, respect each other. And then when I coach, to me, as in the bullpen, you have to make sure that everybody understand that we're all in this together. To win a ball game, you can't alienate anybody. And I think that's the job of a veteran. Bring in the young kids, make sure they feel at home, make sure they feel like they belong there, and make them relax. Like you said, 0 for 20. Edouard Julien is going to go 0 for 20. He's going to go for 30 at some point. Where the veterans are guys like, that Korea, you say, oh, it's a bad contract and everything else, but there's value that is not quantifiable that's out there, veteran leadership that's not, you can't really put a dollar amount to it. That's their job. I think that's what we're going to talk about the trading deadline a little bit later, that, hey, this is what young teams going to have to start doing, start spending money on the veterans just to make the young guys a little more comfortable.
I love it, man. All right, let's go to the closer. We're going to talk about this on the other podcast, but we didn't get around to it. I don't know. Do you want to go? I'll give you two options. I don't know. Let's go for one option, actually. Rob Manfred.
Yeah, let's talk about the re-election of Rob Manfred. That's going to be an interesting subject because I think, you didn't know why I wanted to talk about it. The reason why I want to talk about it is because he's getting voted in. Supposedly he's going to get voted. My light just turned off. Sorry, that's why I'm a little darker now. The light turned off and everything. But I want to talk about it because, the problem, we talked about the bargaining agreement, all the problems we have now with the new salaries coming in and, arbitration, all that stuff. Now he's going to get voted again. And what I want to talk to you about is kind of, hey, he gets voted in by the owners only.
Yeah.
I'd love to see a committee where you have owners, Yeah, even the fans can vote in something a little bit, like just their opinion, and players vote in. Because to me, in my opinion, the commissioner of any sports is there to represent the sports. Is there to represent the sport as a whole, not just the ownership or the the money parts. I think that's a big divide that's been happening in the last, I don't know, 20-some years, when the money started getting really big, really real, and the players start taking this and that. And I think what happened is the ownership and the commissioner are on one side, and then the players on another side. What I'd like to see is a commissioner for all. And it's it's almost like politics. It's the same thing that's happening now. You need someone to represent everybody, the fans, the players, and the owners. And I'd love to see where the players have a say in there. They have a sit at the table where they can actually vote. Hey, who's best for the game? Not just for the owners to make money, but for the game, to grow the game, to reach out the fan interaction. What do we need to do to improve our life as baseball players in the minor leagues? All those big. There's a lot of issues in baseball that haven't been really addressed in a long time. We talked about gay players, LB, whatever. I'm messing it up. But the gay players in the game. These are issues. If you want to grow the game, you can't alienate people. You can't alienate the women. You can't alienate gay people. You can't alienate anybody. You're trying to grow it. And I think for me, that's what I'd love to see. Like, now they're going to vote him in. It's going to be the owners only, because they're probably going to make more money this year and the year after and the year after. So they're happy. So they re-vote him in. He's done a lot of good things. That's what I want to talk about. What do you think about him? Do you think he should be the commissioner again, or, because he's got what? I don't know how many years he's been there. Probably 12,
15 or 16. No, 12. It's been there for a while.
Oh, yeah. So what do you think?
Simon can tell us. How many years has Manfred been the commissioner of? It bugs me. I don't think he's going to mark history. I don't think it's going to be the way Selig did. I don't think Selig marked history for the right reason. I think because he was involved with everything that the big steroid scandal. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna look like an idiot. I'm looking for not Bowie Kuhn, but that era. What was the guy who was actually also at the head of the Olympics, who became baseball commissioner? Pete Uberoth.
Oh yeah. So he's been. I'm looking at January 15th. I'm sorry. Assumed office in 2015. That was his first year. 2015. Yeah.
Manfred.
Yep. It says assume office January 25th.
Wow. It seems like longer. So to me, you know what? Okay, that's a good example of nothing that special has happened, because I think it's been like the same boring long. You know what? The way he handled the A's thing really pisses me off, because the scars are too deep about the Montreal market. I hated the fact that he said, and he repeated it, and he just he kept hammering it, that people didn't show up. Well, yeah, but if you're gonna give me a fucking shitty product year after year, what's my motivation to show up? I think baseball is it's funny because it's kind of hypocritical. I hate the salary cap in baseball and in hockey. Because I like the fact that there's a ceiling and there's a floor, but teams like Arizona is a good example of just always trying to barely make the floor. But baseball doesn't have that. If someone forced the A's to spend some money and actually put a decent fucking product on the field, they wouldn't. They might still be moving to to Vegas, but to go and say to the fans, you guys didn't show up. We lived the same thing in Montreal. Montreal was a baseball town. I'm sorry what people say and what people think.
It's a great sports town, and I think the Oakland A's is the same situation. It's always after the fact. Instead of being so reactionary, be preventative. Understand that, hey, if you don't put a product on the field, you will lose teams. That happened before. It's going to happen again. And to me, I didn't like that. What I didn't like is when he said about the trophy, it's just a trophy, it's just hardware. To me, I'm like, you cannot say that. This is stuff that ever since I'm 3 years old, there's 750 million fans that dream to be in our shoes and winning that trophy and raise that trophy and drink champagne and just get you can't say that. You're devaluing your sport. To me, that was a big misstep. And the Oakland A's is the same thing. I think he's done a lot of good things, and I'm not going to bash him because I think he's done the change. The rule change is amazing. I think there's a couple tweaks here and there, but I think it's I would love
they
to
had
see.
They had to be made because they had to be made because baseball was going. Of course, it was going in the wrong direction. So,
but I think he's done a good job. I think I would probably I don't know. It's a tough, but I'd like to see players have a say in it. That's what I would change a little bit in that situation. Kind of make the players involved in this. You want the players are the game. The players and the fans are the game. To grow the game, you have to have the players involved. You have the players have a say in it, and then that's
Yeah, but let me ask you a question then. Okay, let's say. Yeah, because in every major sport in North America, the commissioner is voted by the owners. In basketball, hockey, football. So let's say now it's voted by the committee. But next time there's a bargaining, there's negotiations. Where does he stand? In neutral? You know what I mean? And what happens like the Players Association?
Greater good of the game. Greater good of the game. It's not about making money. It's about growth. And the problem is we're a little focused on making money, which is great. I understand that. It's a business. I understand that. I totally get it. But at the same time is that the world has changed. The way to make money has changed. The way the revenue is totally different than when the Expos were there. You can make money differently.
I know, man.
Gone. And it's not so much about having people in the stands. It's about, social media advertising. There's a lot of different things about that. But I think, every sport's going to have to change as well. I think they're going to, it's not going to change overnight. It's going to be a fight with the players and the owners. But I would love to see that. I would love to see people just kind of, really have the fans involved and make them vote. And maybe it's worth, I don't know, a half of a vote or whatever it is. Just make them more implicated in the game and make it grow all of us together instead of just splitting out. Because they're splitting the players and the ownership, and we're all in this together. I mean, the game is nowhere without the players. The game is nowhere without the fans. And and then you need the owners. You need all three. You need a trifecta to make it work the right way. And what's the best way? You need to have a guy in the middle of all that or in charge of all that really makes decisions for the greater good of the game, not for the wallet. And, of course, everybody loves it's like a perfect world and everything else, but that'd be kind of cool to see, though. But he's made some good adjustments.
Actually, you know what? I thought it was like you asked me the question right off the bat. What did I think of him? I said, I never think he was going to. I think he's doing a good job. I just don't think he's going to be like a historical figure of the commissioner list. But
because he's doing what his mandate is to make sure that the owners are happy. So it's like he's done a good job. I don't think he's done a bad job. I would love to see that change where you make everybody involved in the process a little bit more. And I think they're gearing that there's going to be a little bit of a shift that way. I think the rule change, get the players involved, ask the players, ask them what they would do. Like why are the base biggers and anybody asks this and that, then I think I think the players would feel there'll be a lot less friction between the owners and the players if there would be more interaction, more involvement together, and it'd be a lot easier to bargain instead of just taking stuff from each other. That's my take.
It's a great take, man. And on this editorial from Eric Gagne, we say,
game over.
Exactly. Have a good one. Have a good one, folks. We'll talk soon.
T'as déjà striké dans tes bouchettes, et avec des lunettes qui font peur.